Hail Internet, it's Matt here for the Dork Lords. If you're new to the channel, welcome. We talk about all manner of dorkly things here, whether it's sci-fi, fantasy, superheroes. We probably have a playlist about it. Feel free to check us out. Today is another installment of Dork Tales, a woo-woo. Tales of personal dorkdom from me to you. And in today's installment, we're going to talk about one of the most terrifying moments of my childhood. I jest. But I should say that when I was a kid, my parents enrolled me in a lot of activities. They're trying to make me well-rounded. Perhaps they succeeded. I don't know. They crafted the perfect dork. But the idea was, hey, this way you can get a lot of life experiences and, it builds character. Have these life-affirming moments. A couple of those life-affirming events were so terrifying to me at the time that I spent the time just huddled in a corner, just waiting for it to end, not appreciating the positive benefits that I was receiving. The first of those would be solo violin recitals. I did play the violin in an orchestra where, you can hide and just you blend in with the big group. But occasionally, I had to go up in front of a crowd with the music stand and my violin and nothing else and attempt to play a song and be judged and humiliated. And for whatever reason, I'd get massive shaky leg, get Jimmy leg. It was always the left leg. I don't know, my right leg, good on your right leg, strong, steady. Left leg, no, everyone can see my Jimmy leg. Anyway, terrifying solo violin recitals. But the second type of event was even more terrifying, and that was the horse show. Horse shows feature the same terror as the solo violin recital. You're one person, you're on a horse, you're in a ring, being watched by people, judged, humiliated. So that terror, still there, still get the Jimmy leg, but add in the perception that you could die at any minute. Now, was I actually on the verge of death at any time? No. But boy, it felt that way to 10-year-old me. I mean, you think about it, it's almost like asking a 10-year-old kid to be a stuntman. I'm actually in a comedy group called The Stuntmen, where we do not show jump horses on stage. But the idea is okay, little junior stuntman, I want you to get on this 1,000-pound animal, and I want you to leap over a series of obstacles. A wall, a body of water, bunch of barrels. Just do it upright. Evel Knievel. 10 buses. No, I never had to jump over 10 buses. But in any case, there was that extra fear of my own safety. So how did I get involved in horse shows? Well, it's not that my family was the ultra elite. My dad, retired Army major. At the time, we were living in Germany, and my parents made the mistake of offering up as an incentive to my sister free riding lessons if she got straight A's. She got straight A's, she took the lessons, she got hooked. Flash forward a few years, we had moved to the States, and my dad bought a small plot of land out in Fortson, Georgia, where they still live. And we had a few horses, and we had a little tiny horse farm. Dana, my sister, awesome equestrian. Her room was lined with blue ribbons. First place. Me, not so much. For those of you out there who don't know, green is the color of 6th place. So I had a few 6th place ribbons. In fact, I had a show where I actually came in 7th, last place, but they gave me a mercy 6th place ribbon. It's fine. 6th-ish. So that was my level of participation. I had a pony named Taffy. Now, Taffy was awesome. She was an amazing pony. She was kind and silly and totally matched my personality and was great. Not a show horse, and was as afraid of shows as I was. So together we were a terrible mix for horse shows. But just to give you an idea, I could go all day about Taffy, but I'll just do a few Taffy stories. One of the things Taffy used to do, whenever I came into the pasture, she'd come up to me if I was wearing a jacket. She would grab the zipper of my jacket and just start going, like, I was like, oh, okay, you win, Taffy. I need my jacket, though, thank you. My mom once told me a funny Taffy story. So my mom goes out in the pasture to feed the horses, and she hangs her jacket up on the pump house. She's dealing with the horse feed, looks over, jacket on the ground. Mom's like, goes over, picks up the jacket, hangs it back on the pump house. Yeah, we had well water, by the way. Forts in Georgia at that time, pretty much off the grid. But okay, so jacket back on the pump house, goes back to deal with the horse feed, looks back, jacket is once again on the ground. I was like, come on now. There's no wind or anything. What's going on here? So she goes, picks the jacket up for the third time, hangs it on the pump house, pretends to go back to the feed, and kind of keeps an eye out. This is the awesome part. Taffy's head kind of pokes around behind the pump house, and then she knocks the jacket off the pump house and then whoop, quickly sneaks back so that she's hiding behind the pump house. It's her little game of like, ha ha ha, ha, I'm gonna knock your jacket off. Anyway, so that was that's kind of Taffy's personality. Quirky, funny, also very, very sweet. I should note that Taffy was blind in one eye, which made her a little skittish at times because she didn't see something until suddenly, like, oh God, there it is, ah! And so she had that kind of reaction sometimes to newly discovered items. And the lack of depth perception, probably not the best for show jumping. But anyway, a typical horse show, at least at the time, I don't know, they probably changed by now, but this is 10-year-old me. They came in 3 sections. You had dressage, where the fear of death was much lower. You weren't jumping anything. But you'd go into a ring by yourself and your horse, and then the ring had different letters marked out, like A, B, C, D. And then you had to, like, from A to D, you trot. From D to F, you canter. That kind of. So you had to memorize a course, and then judges marked you on your ability to pull this off. We were terrible at it. Taffy was so nervous. Taffy had Jimmy leg. Because Taffy was like, ding, 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 ding. You're not supposed to do the fastest dressage. That's a bad thing. We did it, hence green 6th place ribbons. But so there was dressage. That was one factor. The second section was stadium jumping. And like it sounds, it's a bunch of jumps in a ring. And you go on a certain course. You get 3 refusals before you're disqualified. And it's scary. There's that, I got to get over this thing. I think I have a photo of one of my few successful stadium jumping runs. Go get them, Taffy. There, that's proof. It's proof that I successfully pulled off a jump. But the third section was kind of the extra terrifying one, because that is cross-country jumping. And what that meant is you had these jumps where you'd go off into the woods, and you had to follow a course, and there's a timer on you, and you had so much time to get through the woods over these jumps and then come back out of the woods and cross the finish line in a certain amount of time without 3 refusals, cross-country jumping. But the idea of like being isolated out there, like each jump had, I think, like a judge who was watching to make sure you got over the jump. But otherwise, you're just in the woods, jumping over obstacles. And the idea that if you fell, you'd just be lying there in the woods, like some kind of horror movie. So the time came for my very first cross-country jumping event. Just terrified, like blindingly terrified of what's about to come. I had to go to the bathroom so many times. I'd like go to the portalette, but then I had to hold on to Taffy, so like I would hold on to the reins with the door partially closed. Taffy's face is hanging out next to a portalette. She was very understanding. Thank you, Taffy. We got through that together. So, all right. Anyway, there we go. I'm on Taffy. I'm waiting to go. My turn. My dad, ever the optimist, he's giving me a pep talk, which was great. But he's like, hey, look, I know dressage didn't go so well this morning, but if you go clean, no refusals in this cross country, you could really jump up in the standings. Now, what he's saying is going right through one ear and right out the other, because I'm completely just fixated on, I have 5 minutes to live. It's been a good life. This is it. All right. Goodbye, sweet world. I'm about to do a cross-country jumping event. All right, I am now on deck. And the person who's in first place is currently on the course. I don't remember what her name was. We'll just say Sally Jenkins riding Blue Ribbon. So, okay, Sally Jenkins takes off, timer. Bing! She heads off into the woods. Okay, everybody's waiting. I'm sitting there waiting on my impending death. So here comes Sally Jenkins. She comes out of the woods. So she's got just one more jump before she hits the finish line. And that's this big barrel jump. And so she comes riding towards it. And right at the last second, Blue Ribbon decides, nope, I'm not doing this. Plants. Sally Jenkins flies over Blue Ribbon's head, just crashes straight into the barrels, is lying there. I'm pretty sure she was unconscious. Okay, so here's this like 10-year-old girl unconscious on the ground. Call 911. We had to wait for the ambulance. The ambulance comes. Oh, stretcher. They stretcher her away. Now, I found out later that she was okay. But in that moment, it was just unconscious girl being carted away, basically fulfilling the fear that I've been having for the last half an hour. You know, and then it's like, as the ambulance is pulling away, Up next, Matthew Rice on Pride and Joy. Pride and Joy was Taffy's show name, which seems ironic somehow. But anyway, Pride and Joy and I were up next. Now, if I was terrified before, I just seen the first place person. She was first place, the most competent person in the show. Ambulance, probably dead, as far as I know. I'm just literally paralyzed with fear. Jimmy leg. Oh God. And so we're getting ready to go. Now the first jump before you hit the woods, there's a jump. It's what they call a brush jump. It's like you get the bristles of a large brush. It kind of makes the horse go, what's that? Especially if they're blind in one eye. So we're heading up toward the first jump. Oh, actually, so we get the little bell, right? Ding! You're on the course. Timer's running now. Oh God, I'm on a clock as well. So here we go. We're heading towards this first jump. And, you know, in my mind, I'm like, you know, Taffy, we don't have to do this. and I feel like I'm getting back from Taffy. Really? Because I was thinking the same thing. Maybe we don't have to actually do this. And so we get up to the brush jump, and Taffy decides, nope, I'm turning left. And so we go, yoink. We turn left. Bam. One fault. You get 3. So, all right, come back again, turn left. 2 faults. Okay, all right, we'll try this one last time. Neither one of us expects to go over this jump at this point. And sure enough, we don't. So we turn left a third time. It's like, Matthew Rice on Pride and Joy is disqualified. I walk Taffy back up the hill towards my dad. I can see my dad's disappointed. He's like, oh, so close. If only Taffy could have gotten over that jump. And I'm like, yeah, so close to dying in the woods. I'm like, good girl, Taffy, good girl. And so Taffy played her part. We both survived. Taffy and I, we lived. Our reputations died, but our bodies and spirits lived on. The rest of the day was actually pretty good. I got to sit in the back of our station wagon, eat my mom's fried chicken, watch Dana win another blue ribbon. So, you know what? I survived the most terrifying day of my childhood. Thanks to Taffy. Thank you, Taffy. And thank you out there for watching another installment of Dork Tales, a woo-woo. Bye, everybody.